it is Miss Crafty Chick back for another video. But this is not just any video. This is going to be the beginning of a series of videos. Alright, so let me tell you a little bit about what we got going on. I'm so excited because I've partnered with 6 fabulous bloggers to bring you a series called the Build Your Wardrobe series. Now, the way this series came about is because I don't know about you, but I've always ran into an issue where every time I go in my closet, I can't find anything to put together. I've made several pieces over the last 3 years, but if it isn't formal or going to church, I just don't have any practical pieces that I can wear to work and not look like I'm going out for a night on the town. I mean, that's just being real. So what I decided to do was help myself out and help you guys out if you're willing to tag along and build your wardrobe. Alright, so basically when we're building your wardrobe, we're just taking essential pieces and putting them together and showing you how to mix and match them. Okay, so in addition to that, the bloggers are going to show you different ways to style your individual piece. Okay, so let me back up. The way it's going to work is that we have 6 weeks. This is a 6-week series. Every week we have a new piece that's going to be introduced. Alright, on Monday the lead blogger will do her piece and post on her blog as well as on her Instagram and show you how she styled her piece. Alright, and then on Tuesday I'll just give you some tips on where you can find your piece for that week or whatever piece it may be or whatever theme it may be for that week. And then on Wednesday I will release a YouTube video to you guys every Wednesday for the next 6 weeks, showing you how to make your own piece. Alright, so in addition to these bloggers showing you how they style their piece, we're going to show you how to make your very own piece. Alright, so what are the pieces? So before I get started on what all the pieces are going to be for the 6 weeks, what I want to talk to you about is basically what is an essential piece. In my opinion, an essential piece is a piece that is essential to your wardrobe. Alright, and you can mix and match it, and that is classic and never goes out of style. Alright, and that it just transitions from season to season. Alright, and so what we're going to do is make 6 of those pieces and mix and match them and show you basically how you can build your wardrobe. Now, this is going to be a 2-part series, so no 6 pieces is not going to make up your whole wardrobe. We're going to do more for our second series, but I wanted to get you all started and kind of give you an idea of how everything should be done, how you can mix and match things. Okay, so the way the series is going to work is that every week we introduce a new piece. The first piece is the little black dress. We all know about the little black dress, and you know you need the little black dress to wear to different events. One thing I love is people who can find little black dresses, or I like to find dresses that I can, you know, dress down and have a casual event, or dress up and go to a, you know, night on the town with my husband or with some classmates that are in from out of town, you know, or a formal event. That is the beauty of the little black dress. It's versatile. You can dress it up or dress it down. That's the first week. Alright, the second week is going to be the white blouse. Plain white blouse, alright? And then while we make the other pieces, we're going to show you how you can take that piece and mix it with some of the other pieces. Alright, the third week is the blazer. And I don't know about you, but I have absolutely no blazers. I used to be afraid of blazers because I had these big broad shoulders, and all the blazers that I found came in these sets, and so the pants would fit. Alright, but the blazers would be all the way to here because I have these long, lanky arms. Alright, so that's the problem I ran into. So I'm really excited about this one because while I'm showing you guys how to make these essential pieces, I'm going to be making them myself. Remember, I'm helping me and helping you at the same time. Alright, so week 4 is the pencil skirt. Alright, and we know what a pencil skirt is. Alright, so now so far we've made the pencil skirt, we've made the white blouse, alright, and we've made the blazer. That's already an outfit right there. Alright, and what we're going to do is show you how you can take those pieces and mix and match them. And heck, by the time we're finished, you may have figured it out by yourself. Because what I'm learning while I'm teaching you guys is that, you know, it's pretty simple. It's pretty a no-brainer. You just pick the pieces that you know you can mix and match, and they go with everything, basically. Week 5 is the print skirt. Now, with fall coming up, you know, you can decide whether you want to do you a mini skirt or you want to do you a long flowy skirt. I think the one that we're going to make for that series is going to be a long skirt. But the print skirt is another piece that's essential to your wardrobe that you can mix and match with all the other pieces that we already would have done that, you know, so far. Alright, and the last and final week is the dress pant. Alright, now I don't know about you, but whether you're a working woman or a mom to go, sometimes you just want to look nice, or you always want to look nice. Alright, so these pieces, by the time we finish, are going to help you build your wardrobe. All right, you're going to be able to take those pieces, you're going to be able to take the dress pants and put on your white shirt, or put on your white blouse and put on your blazer, whatever color you decide to make, you know, and you're ready to go with a pair of pumps. Or you can put on your pencil skirt, white blouse, leave the blazer at home, put on a cute set of pumps and go. Or you can take the print skirt, mix it with the white blouse, put back on that blazer, throw a scarf on, you're ready to go. See how quick we just did that? That's what I want you to be able to do with these 6 pieces. Now, like I said, we are doing 6 weeks. That's not going to be all that builds your wardrobe. Alright, so after we do these 6 weeks, then we will have another series. But what I have found is that women need this. You know, I needed it, so what I'm doing is giving it to women. Alright, so without further ado, this video is going to be about the little black dress. Now, on Monday, Miss Adrienne showed you guys how to do the black dress, and I don't know about you, but hers was fabulous. Here it is. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make our own version of that little black dress. Alright, it's going to be super simple. And when you finish, you'll have one piece knocked out of the way. Alright, so let's get started. So what we're going to do is, basically with this particular little black dress, is we're going to take a pattern that's not really a dress, and we're going to make it into a dress. Because a lot of times what I found is that I may have an idea of what I want the dress to look like, but I can't find the pattern. And so what I have to do is find a pattern that's close to it and kind of alter it to what I want to do. So a lot of times I may know how I want the top look, you know, and I know how I want the bottom look, but I can't find those pieces together, so I'll just have to make my bottom. So in this case, what we're going to do is take a pattern that's just really a top with a peplum bottom, and we're going to turn that peplum into a longer dress. Alright, so let's talk about supplies that you're going to need for this one. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you've already gotten your supplies because I posted them last week to get you ready for this week. I hope you got it, because starting, McCall has their patterns on sale, so you want to take advantage of that and go ahead and get those. I don't know about you, but I don't like paying full price for a pattern. Just not happening. Alright, so while we're talking about patterns, the pattern that you're going to need for this particular video is M7162. Like I said, it is a shirt pattern, but we're going to make it a cute dress. Alright, you're also going to need some woven fabric. Now, on the package it tells you to use charmeuse, or it tells you to use a woven, a medium weight woven fabric. What I'm using is neoprene because I want the bottom portion of it to really stick out and have some volume. Alright, you can use whatever you think is going to work for you, but make sure it's black. Alright, and you'll probably want to make sure that it has a little bit of stretch to it. Alright, you're also going to need some 3/8 to 5/8 trim. Alright, and this is going to be for the top portion that goes over your shoulder. So dress it up. With this, I got some, it looks like it's some fancy trim, and it's, you know, I just got it because it was cute and I figured that it would add a little detail to my dress. So what you want to do is find some trim that's going to add some detail to your dress. What you're going to also need is a 20 to 22 inch zipper, and that's going to attach the bottom and the top pieces, and you're going to need that. Alright, and you're also going to need some pattern weights, of course. And again, I got these, if you watch my other videos, you know that I got these from Lowe's. Very, very, very inexpensive, but they help hold down the pattern weights so I don't have to sit up and pin things, alright? And with neoprene, you just don't want to be doing a whole lot of pinning anyway and messing up the fabric. Alright, and then you're going to need a tape measure, and that's basically just to do out your circle skirt that's going to be at the bottom. So another piece of exciting news while we're on supplies is that you're going to need some scissors, alright, to cut all this and to sew and all that stuff. So Fiskars has agreed to be our official sponsor for the Build Your Wardrobe series, and what that basically means is it gives me the opportunity to be able to give back to you guys. Alright, so what we're going to do is pick weeks out of the whole week where you're going to have something that you need to do, so make sure you go ahead and follow me on Instagram. I know you're following me on YouTube because you're watching this, hopefully. Alright, and you're also going to need to follow all of the bloggers to stay tuned and get ready for when we have the giveaways. We will announce those giveaways, but Fiskars is sponsoring that, so you can find their information below if you'd like to visit their website. Or you can just tune in to us and see the great gifts that we're going to be giving you from Fiskars. Thanks, Fiskars, for sponsoring us. Alright, now as far as the pattern goes, you do need pattern M7162. Alright, and like I said, we are going to turn that into a dress. But the only pieces that you're going to need from that particular pattern are pattern piece 3 and pattern piece 5. Alright, and that's just your top bodice piece. You're going to need both of those, and then we're going to make the circle skirt piece that goes at the bottom. You ready to get started? Let's go. Alright, so the first thing you want to do, of course, is go ahead and lay out your fabric and make sure that's on the fold. Now, this particular fabric I got from Fine Fabrics in Atlanta, and I don't know if you all know about that, but it is a fabulous, inexpensive warehouse where they have all this beautiful fabric for very, very, very low prices. And I love going there because you can find the best neoprene. It's really good, and you can also just look at different knits, and they have lace. They have just about every type of fabric that you can imagine. That's why I like going. Usually when I go, I stock up. So this particular fabric, or this particular neoprene, I got from Fine Fabrics. Alright, so you want to go ahead and lay out your fabric first, and then you want to go ahead and lay your pattern pieces on top. Guys, so what I have done is laid out my piece 3 and my piece 5. Your piece 3, you're going to lay on the fold, and your piece 5, you're not going to have to lay that on the fold. Alright, so make sure when you get ready to cut that you cut your piece 3 on the fold. So what we're going to do is go ahead and weigh down our pattern pieces so they don't move. And if you notice on both pattern pieces, you have darts that you have to sew in at the bottom. Alright, so what I typically do is I don't cut out my darts. Alright, what I do is I take my pen or whatever I'm using, and I actually poke holes in my darts going all the way down, and then I just make dashes going all the way down so that when I get ready to put my item together, I can see those dashes and I can go ahead and fold, you know, my pattern pieces the way that, or I can go ahead and put in my darts the way they need to be put in. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Alright, so what I wanted to show you regarding the darts was that this is how I make my darts. I like to take a pen, alright, and basically find the dart that I'm going to do, and in this case I cut the pattern 12, so I'm going to do the dart 12, and then I just go all the way down the dart and I make little lines, little dashes in the dart. Once I've done one side with the holes going all the way down one line, I'll make sure I put a hole in the top for the circle and where the other circle is. And then I go all the way down on the second side where the 12 is, or the line for the 12 is rather. Now you don't want to make your hole so big that you know you can't tell what line you're going to be following, but you want to make sure you try to get all the way on that line. So I made my darts, or I made my dashes or holes going all the way down both sides. And then what I'm going to do is just come back with I use my chalk pen. And just make my little dashes. Alright, and then once I've made my lines, what I prefer to do is just go ahead and trace around the pattern so I can get a nice cut and not really have to worry about where my lines are, or have to worry about the pattern shifting, because I hate that. I hate when even with these weights on here, when you start moving around, the pattern does shift, or when you start cutting, the pattern tends to shift. So this will just give you tracing it out just gives you a better cut, in my opinion. Alright, if you're going to draw your pattern pieces out or trace around your pattern pieces, what I suggest doing before you cut is going ahead and marking where you need to make your notches at, so that while you're cutting, or before you lift your paper, you mark it, and then you know exactly where you got to put your notches at. Alright, and then make sure you transfer all of your markings onto your pattern piece. And then what I'm going to do is now move my pattern piece, and you should be able to see the darts that I made, which are right here, and then you can see the pattern piece that I made also. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is move all my weights out of the way and go ahead and cut this piece out. Alright, and remember this is piece 3, so you're going to cut this on the fold. You should have traced it on the fold, and just go ahead and follow your lines and cut out. Alright, you probably already know this, but once you finish cutting out your first pattern piece to conserve on fabric, go ahead and just move it on over. And if you have 60-inch fabric, then you can definitely do this. Go go ahead and move it over, and you should be able to even do it on 45-inch fabric. But move it over, use your pattern piece 5, and go ahead and cut 2 pieces out for your pattern piece 5. Now, if you are using the same fabric to do your lining for the inside of this, because this dress is lined, then you want to go ahead and cut out 2 pieces of pattern piece 3 and 4 pieces of pattern piece 5. Now by me using one as my outer and one as my lining, I'm going to cut my 1 piece out for pattern piece 3 and then 2 pieces out on this fabric for pattern piece 5, and then switch to my lining fabric. I hope that makes sense. The pattern allows you for fabric to go ahead and so you can line your own fabric, but in my case I'm using neoprene, and I definitely don't want to try to line neoprene with neoprene. Not a good look, not gonna lay smooth, don't want it to happen. Alright, I went ahead and cut out all my pieces. I got my piece 5. I have both my neoprene 2 pieces, and then I have my lining 2 pieces. Alright, and I transferred all my markings on both pieces. This is my piece 3 with my neoprene piece as well as my lining piece, and I've transferred all of my markings, so now I'm ready to go. Now on the pattern, it has you do this kind of crazy in my opinion, because it tells you to sew the darts in, you know, and cut everything, but it's only telling you to do the front, the main piece, and then go back later and do the lining. So what I like to do is just go ahead and pin my darts in both pieces and sew both pieces at the same time. That way when it's time to use your lining, you don't have to stop and do the same thing that you already did to your front piece or to your main piece. Alright, so what you want to do is go ahead and let's just do this first piece together, and you see where your darts are. So what I like to do is just kind of turn it in and match up both sides. See there and there, and kind of get them as close as I can. And then start by pinning that piece once I get it in, right? Alright, and then I'm going to just go up to the top. And again, I'm working with neoprene, so it's going to be a little stiff, but not crazy stiff. Alright, and so I'm just going to go ahead and pin my top portion together. And now what I'm going to do is just lay it flat. Alright, because the seams are going to pretty much line up on both sides because you pin your top and your bottom. And then just go ahead and stick you some pins going all the way down. Alright, and I got one side ready to go and ready stitched up, and what I'm going to do when I get ready to stitch that is just run my seam going all the way to the end, and then leave some, run it all the way out, run your stitch all the way out past the end of your dart, and that's why you got your hole there, or your little circle there, and then leave those pieces, cut them, and then you'll have 2 pieces left on the outside, so you can tie those darts so they don't poke out in the front, so they lay nice and smooth. Alright, so what we're going to do first is go ahead and pin the other side and pin everything else up, and then go ahead and stitch. Alright guys, so we got all of our pattern pieces pinned up, and you can see how I got both sides pinned up on my main piece, my main fabric piece, as well as my sides pinned up on my lining pieces. And I'm going to go ahead, like I told you guys, and stitch both pieces front and back. Stitch the seams in, going all the way to the top and running the stitch off of the fabric so that you have a small amount of fabric left, and then you're going to tie it down so it doesn't poke in the front. Alright, once I get all of this stitched down, I'll show you how everything looks and how I tied off my pieces. Alright guys, I have sewn in all of my darts for my front piece as well as my back piece, and so you can see here's my front piece. This is the front main piece, and I have my darts. And this is my front lining piece, and I also put my darts in it. And here are my back pieces with the darts. And what you want to do is go ahead when we finish and iron your darts on your back piece to the middle, so they'll be ironed towards the longest part. Alright, and here is my lining, my 2 lining pieces for my back piece also. Alright, so what you want to do is put your 2 back pieces to the side. Alright, and you're going to make sure to iron those darts going to the center. And what we want to do right now is go ahead and pull back our front piece. And you know there's no way we can wear this front piece if we got these darts hanging out like this. So we need to go ahead and trim them down to 5/8 of an inch. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Alright, there's one. And again, guys, I'm using neoprene on mine just to give it a little form. That was my choice. You do not have to use neoprene on yours. I suggested a woven fabric or a medium weight fabric just so you can get a little fullness to your skirt when we add that. Alright, so I've done that on my main piece. I've cut my darts down to 5/8 of an inch on my main piece. And I'm going to do the exact same thing for my lining piece. And there's my second piece. Alright, so I got all of my pieces cut down, the ones that at least need to be cut down. On my lining piece, I'm going to go ahead and open up my darts, and then I'm going to iron those down. And I'm going to do the same thing on my front piece. Open up my darts and go ahead and lay those down with my iron. Alright, and with your back pieces, you have four of those, 2 main pieces and 2 lining pieces. You're just going to iron your dart towards the center piece, alright? And so in this case, this would be my center, right here, my center back piece. And I'm just going to take my dart and iron it down going that way. Alright, and do the same thing for your lining pieces as well as your other. And we'll be back to see what that looks like. Alright guys, as always, I am taking time after I finish ironing down everything to cut away all of my extra little threads. Kind of cut your threads as you go, because what I found is that if I wait to cut my threads till after I finish sewing, then I usually forget some. And I don't see them until I'm out taking pictures looking all curt and there's a thread. Alright, or an Irish penny, as a lady once told me they call them in the Marines. So, just so you can see here, I have already ironed out my darts. And this is how they look from the inside. Alright, and from the outside, this is how it looks. Alright, you can kind of see what goes here. And that is the reason for your darts, to get that form. Alright, and so again, here are my 2 back pieces. And I've ironed both of those to the middle pieces. To the center back, as you can see. And I did the same thing to my lining piece. Alright, so what you're going to do is on this step, you're going to do the same thing to both your main pieces as well as your lining pieces. You want to go ahead and lay it on the right side up on your front piece. And take one of your back pieces. Alright. And we are going to match the ends up. Make sure that you use your notches, and if you can see, I have my notches on both my back piece as well as my front piece, and I'm just going to line those up together and pin. Alright, and once I get one side pinned, then you'll do the same thing for the other side. Alright guys, I have my main piece pinned. So what I'm going to do is, like always, run a 5/8 inch seam going all the way down both sides. And I'm going to do the exact same thing to my lining once I pin those. Alright, when you get both of those done, come back and see me. Alright guys, I have connected my side pieces, both side pieces, and I went ahead and ironed down my seam so I wouldn't have to worry about doing that. So you all need to go ahead and make sure you iron down both your seams. I attached my sides for both my main piece as well as my lining piece. And you can see that here. And what I'm going to do again is go ahead and take a moment and cut away all of my extra thread. Alright, it is so important to cut that away, because I can't tell you how many times I've been out there just looking cute and my husband's like, baby, you got thread hanging from you. And I'm so embarrassed when that happens. So Don't let that happen to you. Don't let somebody else catch you on the outside with your Irish penis. Alright, so once I get both of my side pieces attached, then it's time to attach our strap, what's going to connect the two. Now, the reason why I told you to buy your trim, on the pattern it tells you that you can use your trim to go around the skirt portion of your dress, or the in this case it would be the peplum part of your shirt. But we're not going to do that. Since we're changing it up anyway, why not just change it on up? Alright, so what you're going to do is grab your lace, and I got me some really pretty lace. They tell you to get scallop lace. I would just get something that has texture to it. You know, something that's going to lay really pretty across your skin. And just make sure you test it out while you're at the store before you get anything. Alright, so what you're going to do is we are going to use these as straps. Alright, now the pattern piece that you need to cut out for this particular step, and I apologize, I did not mention it in the first part, but that pattern piece is going to be pattern piece number 7. You're going to need pattern piece number 7. So go ahead and pull that out now. Alright, so I got my pattern piece 7, and what we're going to do is use this as a guide for how long we need to cut our strap. Alright, and remember we're using trim, so you want to go ahead and get your piece 7 and take your trim that you picked out. Alright, and what we're going to do is line it up. Alright, and I'm just letting it hang off just a little bit, just because my piece is shredding just a little bit. I'm going to baste that before I stitch it on, but I am going to go ahead and cut at the end of where it's telling me to, based off of the pattern, and that's the piece. And what you're going to do is cut 2 pieces just like that. Alright, and once you cut it, what I want you to do is line it up with the piece again and find where they have the hole at, which would be, that's the guide they're telling you to mark. You want to go ahead and lay it down and line it up with that, and just take you a pin, and instead of marking on your trim, just go ahead and stick a pin through where they're telling you that you would normally mark it on your trim. So that's how your trim should look. So this is the side that you'll need, and that's just the indication of this dot right here, so you know exactly where you need to lay your trim for your strap. Alright, we're going to do that for 2 separate pieces. Alright guys, so once I get my 2 trim pieces done, that's how they're going to look, and these are for your shoulder straps. So however yours look, you want to make sure that you either mark them with a marker or whatever you have, or in my case I'm just going to use a pen and notate mine. Alright, and so what I'm going to do is take my first piece, and I have my front piece turned on the right side out. Alright, make sure it's on the right side. Alright, and then like I said, these are the notches that I made when I was cutting my pieces. It's very important to make sure you do all of your notations, transfer all of your markings, because if you don't, you won't know where to lay anything. Alright, so I have my trim piece. I'm just going to lay it to line it up with the edge of my pattern piece, and I'm going to make sure that my pen falls right on top of that line. Alright, and that was the reason for my pen, so I can know exactly where to place my trim. And I do want to go ahead and line it up with the edge, so we're all sides together, and pin that piece also. Alright, and I have that piece pinned, and I'm going to do the same thing with my trim on my other side. Alright, I have both of my trims laid down and ready to be stitched up, and what you're going to do is just along the edge, maybe about 1/4 away from your raw edge, you're just going to run a basting stitch. Start from the end and run it all the way down to the other end, and cross over that trim so that you can lay it down. Alright, so it'll be snug. You want to do a basting stitch, and of course a basting stitch is just a long stitch. That's temporary, and it's just to hold a lot of things in place. So go ahead and do that, and I'll come back and show you what mine looks like, and we'll see if we are on the same page. Alright guys, I have my trim in, and this is how my shoulder strap looks for right now. and I just basted it going all the way across over the trim all the way to the other side, and I did it on the other one also. Alright, and if you notice, we still have that white mark there. Alright, and then what you'll notice is for the next step, that's going to be your 5/8 mark. Alright, so what we're going to do is lay our main piece right side up, and we're going to take our lining piece and lay it right side down on top of your main piece. Alright, and then what you're going to do is line everything up, and everything should match. Line up all of your notches, and you're going to pin going all the way around your neck edge and all the way around your arm edge to the end. Do that on both sides. Come back and show me what that looks like. Alright ladies, here's how mine's look. And I hope that yours look the same way. What we're going to do, we've went ahead and pinned everything down, so you guessed it, it's time to stitch. Alright, so you want to make sure that up under your fabric before you start stitching, your trim is laid down flat so it won't move while you're stitching. Alright, and I just went ahead and put a pin in my trim anyway through it so that it wouldn't shift while we were sewing. And you want to go ahead and stitch going all the way around the arm edges, all the way around the neck edges. Alright, and do the same thing on the other side. Alright, and then you want to go ahead and trim going all the way around. Alright, we'll be back in a second to see what yours looks like. Alright guys, I got everything stitched down as well as trimmed down to 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Alright, now the next thing that you're going to do is go ahead and flip your lining to the inside. Alright, and everything should lay out really nice. Alright, and once you flip your entire garment or your entire top portion to the inside, then what you're going to do is do an understitch. Now I used to have trouble knowing how, which way to understitch. That was my biggest thing. Alright, but what I always learned is that you always stitch on the side of the lining. Alright, so this is your main fabric piece and this is your lining fabric piece. You're going to pull it towards the lining side like it naturally goes when you fold it, and you're going to stitch on the lining side as close as you can all the way around on the seam. Alright, and when you come back, I want to see what yours look like. You want to make sure you get as close to that seam as possible so that when you lay it over, you get a nice clean layover and everything lines up properly. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright guys, I have not attached my my arm pieces yet, or my straps yet, but I have went ahead and top stitched and ironed down everything. Oh, I left some thread, so I gotta make sure I go in there and cut that away before I even finish. Okay, so what I did was went ahead and top stitched going all the way around like I asked you all to do, and then what I did was at the very bottom and on the sides, I just did a basting stitch to sew the lining together so that I'm not working with all these individual pieces when I start sewing in my zipper and putting on the bottom part of my dress, or the skirt rather. So what I went ahead and did was just did a basting stitch, and you can just see just a wide stitch going all the way around, and that's just going to make it a little bit easier to handle. Now what you want to do is go ahead and pin your straps in the places that you marked. Alright, and I have my places marked here, and I just pinned them on the inside. And what you want to do before you sew anything down is try your piece on, try your garment on, just the top piece because that's all we have right now, and make sure that it fits. Make sure that your arm straps aren't too tight before you sew them down. And then what you're going to do once you get them in place and you pin them together is take your needle with your black thread, or you should be using black thread because it is a little black dress, and you want to go ahead and just stitch your trim down to your garment so that it won't come up. Alright, and when I finish mine, I'll come back and show you how you did. See how you did yours. Alright guys, so I have attached my straps, and look how gorgeous they are. I hope yours look just as good. Alright, and the way that I did it, like I told you, is I just attached it to the back, to the wrong side of the fabric or the lining, and I just stitched going all the way around just to secure my band. And I went ahead, like I told you, and tried it on before I did that, just to make sure that my straps weren't too tight. So I tried it on, got me an exact measurement on my straps, and then once I had it fit correctly, I just went ahead and sewed them on. Alright, so for the most part we are done with the top, or actually we are done with the top for now. It is time to get our bottom all drafted out, and let's move on to that next step. So you're going to put this to the side, and we're going to go ahead and get our fabric for our skirt. And now you want to go ahead and get the fabric that you have left over from when you cut your bodice pieces out. Alright guys, so let's work on our circle skirt portion of this dress, and we're almost done. Basically this is a very simple circle skirt that we're going to attach to the bottom part of our bodice. Alright, and it's going to be nice and flared so that it'll have a nice little roll to it all the way around. Alright, so the easiest way to do this circle skirt is to first take the measurement of your waist, and the way you do that is just measure around the natural part of your waist and get your waist measurement. And to get your waist measurement, I have put an image up for you to see. Alright, and just make sure when you're measuring that you bend, so that you're making sure you're getting your natural waist measurement, because when you bend at the bend, that lets you know where your natural waist is. Alright, another way you can do it is you can take a piece of elastic and tie it around your waist and kind of move back and forth until it situates around your natural waistline. But for the purposes of this, I went ahead and did my natural waist, which is 32 inches. I took 32 inches, and you'll take your natural waist, whatever that is, take that number and divide that by 3. And then subtract and ½ an inch. Alright, and so my number was 10.1, and I'm going to round it down to 10. Alright, so that I can get a nice even. If you don't want to round it down if it's too much over the number. Alright, so either, in my case it was 10.1, so I'm going to use 10. Alright, and then you start at the corner of your fabric. Alright, and if you notice my fabric, I have a folded side here, and I have my selvage edge on the other side. And so what we're doing is working off of the folded side, so that when we unfold it, we'll have a complete circle. My number was 10, so what I'm going to do is start from the very most corner against the fold. Alright, and then find 10 on my measurement. And I'm going to start at the very top of the raw edge and measure down to 10. And make a mark. Alright, then I'm going to go back to the top. Alright, and then I'm going to measure out a little further. And then make a mark. And you're going to do this going all the way around until you get your little semicircle. Alright, so as you see, I made my 10-inch mark going all the way around to the other side, and I just measured from the tip. Alright, and went down 10 inches and then did that all the way going around, and then you'll have your semicircle. Now, I make my knots kind of close so that I don't have to go back and draw a line before I cut. Alright, but if you need to go back and draw a line just so you have a nice clean line to cut by, then you can do that. Alright, so now that you've gotten your waist measurement, which is what you did those dots for, now you want to go ahead and do the length of your skirt, how far down your skirt is actually going to fall. Alright, and so the way that you want to do that is from your natural waist, the same place that you measured around to get your waist. You want to take your tape measurement and just put it at your natural waistline and measure how far down you want. Now for me, I always like to keep it kind of cute and sassy, so I'm going to do 19 inches and I'm going to add an inch for a seam allowance. So I'm going to do 20 inches. Alright, so what I do is start from where I made my first marking and go all the way down 19 inches. I'm sorry, go all the way down 20 inches because you have to add that 1 inch. And I'm going to make my mark. I'm going to do the same thing to make my next mark. Put it on the line on my previous one. Measure down 20 inches and mark. Alright, and you're going to do that just like you did your first one. Go all the way around, making sure that you always put your tape measure at your first point and then measure down and make that circle going all the way around. Alright guys, so I have my line going, my second line going all the way across to make my second semicircle. And one thing that I forgot to mention is that depending on how wide your fabric is, that is going to depend on how long you can make your skirt. For me, 20 inches was the limit. Alright, and this is pretty wide fabric. So you're not going to be able to make too long of a skirt with this particular way of doing it. You want to kind of try to keep it, you know, nice, and you're only going to be able to make a short and cute one, all right, with this one. But I think 20 inches is going to be good. If you need more fabric, then you'll have to do another measurement, but 20 inches is what we're going to go with on this one. All right, so once you get both of them cut out, once you get both of them drawn out, then you want to just go around your lines and cut each one out. Alright guys, how does your circle skirt look when you cut it out? This is how mine looked. And so now we are ready to attach it to our bodice. So what you want to do is, your circle skirt, my circle skirt, I'll be completely honest with you, hardly ever comes out perfect. I always have to maybe shave an inch or two off. But what you want to do is go ahead and connect it to your bodice. Alright, and then what you'll do is use the fold of your fabric to line up your center. Alright, and then just center it and go all the way around. If you have any left over in the back, you want to measure it with that, how much that is, to make it even with your bodice, and go ahead and cut that off the edge. Alright, I'll go ahead and do that, and then go ahead and pin everything to your bodice, and we'll see how everything looks when you come back. Alright guys, so I wanted to kind of show you how I got everything pinned together and how I'm going to take my excess off so you can understand the process a little bit better. You see here I have my excess left over. What I'm going to do is measure how much that is from the raw edge of my bodice, and that's about 2 inches. Alright, so I need to take 2 inches off going all the way down. Alright, and so I got everything marked off now. Alright, so I got everything marked off now, and then what I'm going to do is just cut going all the way down that line. And I got rid of my excess. And so we're good to go on that side. And you want to do that on both sides. Measure the amount that you need to cut off. Cut it off to make it even with your bodice. And then what you're going to do, and then we'll come back. Alright guys, I have everything cut off. And now I am ready to stitch everything together. And if you notice, I did make my pins very close together because there is a curve to the skirt, and so you kind of have to, you know, ease that bodice in. And plus my fabric is a little on the tough side because it is neoprene, but that's basically how yours should look. Go ahead and do that, and then run a 5/8 inch seam going all the way around, and then we'll be back. Alright guys, I have my bottom and my top piece connected, and I did a binding stitch first just to you know, kind of make sure everything was fitted and everything was going to look okay. And then I went back and did, I did a basting stitch first and made sure everything was going to fit okay. Then I went back and did my regular stitch going all the way across once I got my fit okay and everything looked good. Alright, so what you want to do is turn your fabric inside out. Alright, so what you want to do now is we're going to do a top stitch going all the way around our fabric. Alright, so you're going to use the same method as you did when you were doing an understitch to make everything lay flat, but you're going to take your seam allowance that's in the back, alright, and push it towards the bodice. Alright, and then you're going to stitch a line close, very close to your first seam line that you made. Alright, but not right on it, just right above it on the bodice area. And we'll be back. Alright guys, so I have my bodice portion top stitch, and yours should look similar to mine going all the way around. Alright, and that's just to help your seam allowance in the back lay down. Now what you want to go ahead and do is you can use your serger if you have a serger and just go all the way across to close up that raw edge, or you can just use your zigzag stitch going across on your seam allowance to seal off that edge. If you do not use your serger, make sure to trim your edges before you do that zigzag stitch so that you can get so you won't have huge seam allowances. Alright, now after you get that done, what you're going to do is turn it on the wrong side and put the right sides together. All right, and then what you want to do is pin going all the way down. All right, make sure that you match up your seams together, your ends together, so everything is nice and neat. All right, and we'll be back once you've pinned that down to see what yours look like, and you can compare yours. All right, so I have my garment, and as you can see, I've already pinned it, but I've pinned it down only at the bottom, and I left the top portion open. That's because we're getting ready to insert our zipper, and the way we're going to insert it, we don't want to close this up just yet. All right, so what you want to do is measure your zipper, and I have my zipper here. This is a 22-inch zipper, and I want to take it all the way to the top of the garment, and then measure down where I want my zipper to stop. Now you can decide wherever you want your zipper to stop, but wherever you decide, that is where you need to make your marking, just like I've made mine here. All right, and then what you want to do is take your dress to the sewing machine and do a regular stitch going from your marking all the way down to the end of the dress, making sure to do a double back stitch at your marking and a back stitch at the end so that your ends don't unravel. All right, honeys, we are almost at the end. Pretty much all we have to do is insert the rest of our zipper. All right, which I have already done my regular seam going from my stitch, my notation that I made all the way down. All right, so now what we're gonna do is you're gonna go to the ironing board and you're gonna lay your dress down and lay out your seams. And I want you to press going all the way down and lay your seams set flat. When you get to the top, you want to lay out a 5/8 of a seam. So you want to fold it back. All right, and it'll be a lot easier for you to judge that since you've already done some of your skirt in a 5/8 inch seam. But you want to fold back the open portion of your skirt. All right, and iron in a 5/8 inch seam going all the way up on both sides. I'll come back with mine and show you what mine looks like, and you can compare it with yours. So I have pressed out my seams, and I have pressed them all the way down to the ends or to the tops of the bodice. All right, now this is just my technique for inserting my invisible zipper so that it is as clean and invisible as possible. All right, so what I normally do with my invisible zippers is I roll back the zipper teeth and I iron going all the way down. All right, so I've already done mine for these zippers. You can do this if you want to. If not, you'll kind of have to pull it back as you're stitching, and it just kind of takes some of the work out of it. But I normally iron my zipper going back, and then I start working on my zipper. So you want to work from the right side of your fabric. So the first thing you want to do is turn your garment to the outside. Alright, once we get our garment turned to the outside, then you'll see that you have a little crease from where you ironed in your 5/8 inch of a seam. Alright, that is what you're going to use to your advantage. Alright, so basically what you're going to do is lay your zipper face down, and it's going to be the invisible side you want to lay down. Alright, and what you also want to do is use your teeth on your zipper. All right, first of all, you want to make sure that you find the right side and the left side. All right, if you're getting ready to sew on the left side, you're going to use the right side of the zipper. All right, so I'm going to take the right side of my zipper and lay it face down, and the zipper teeth I am going to line up with that crease that I created from ironing it in. So that's going to be your guide. You want to take your zipper teeth and line it up going all the way down with that crease that you have. Alright guys, so I wanted to show you how I do my zipper. I laid it flat down along the 5/8 inch seam that you ironed in like I asked you to, and I just took my teeth of my zipper and lined it along there. And then what I'm going to do is take my zipper foot of my sewing machine, alright, and make sure, I like to lay my zipper foot actually on top and sew as close to that zipper line as I can going all the way down. Alright, you're going to do that, and then when you finish, this is how it's going to look. Alright, and you can see when I fold it back, the zipper does not show. Alright, and when we finish, we're going to iron it down and get that nice clean finish. But let's go ahead and take care of that part now. Go ahead and iron your zipper down and come back and let's see what we got. Alright guys, I am done with my dress. How about you? All right, well, I do know that you have one more thing to do, but first I want to show you how I added my zipper, and I hope that yours turned out okay. All right, and I got my zipper in, and I also made my hook and eye closure on the inside. All right, so you can see that. And so we're pretty much finished with everything. The only thing that I wanted to tell you about is that the difference between my fabric, I don't know if you got neoprene, then you're good. You can stop right here. I got neoprene, and I can pretty much do a unfinished edge, and it'll be okay. But if you did not get a fabric where it doesn't fray when you cut or what have you, then you do need to go ahead and do a rolled hem. I mean, you just roll it under 1/4 of an inch, another 1/4 of an inch, and then you're gonna sew right on the edge of that roll. All right, and if you have a rolled hem foot, then you can use that, but if not, again, just roll your fabric in 1/4 of an inch. And what I normally do is iron out 1/4 of an inch, roll it in, and then iron it, and then that makes it easier, so I can just roll it again and then do my rolled hem. All right, guys, we are done. I hope everything turned out good for you. I hope you have your little black dress to wear. I can't wait until it's time for me to wear mine. I already have an event planned this weekend where I'm going to wear it too. All right, guys, if you make this dress, please don't forget to tag Build Your Wardrobe and at MrsCraftyChick on Instagram, and I will repost all pictures of the dresses that were made on Friday. All right, until next time, have a great day.